Felix Prehn from the GOAT Academy is probably the most dangerous predator I've ever reviewed. In my opinion, he's a manipulative, narcissistic sociopath. He's also a compulsive liar who has likely never worked in investment banking. It seems like he'll do anything to gain your trust, including using animals and also offering a 90-day money-back guarantee that he aggressively markets, yet I've never actually seen him grant a refund. Perhaps more importantly, his trading structure is complete garbage. It's horrible, and it's not profitable. Plus, his garbage trading strategy is available for free elsewhere. In addition to using animals and a fraudulent return policy, he further manipulates his audience with his personality and by using irrelevant numbers like average cash used and annualized ROI to misrepresent the profit potential. He also has diarrhea of the mouth and talks a lot without really saying anything of value. Virtually everything that comes out of Felix Prehn's mouth is bullshit. While he has entertaining videos, they provide virtually zero value. Due to his fraudulent return policy, members must contact their credit card company to initiate a chargeback since he will not honor your refund request. You can tell your credit card company that you're a fraud victim. You can send Felix 1 or 2 emails requesting a refund. Then, once he refuses to honor it, you can present this to your credit card company as proof that you've already requested a refund, yet it's not being honored. I also highly recommend that you contact your local government to report fraud and your local law enforcement agency. In the United States, you can contact the FTC in order to report fraud. Felix Prehn also doesn't show his trading statements, and it's possible that he doesn't even trade at all, instead relying solely on hypothetical trades. He also doesn't understand basic options trading concepts. He has made numerous mistakes on even the most basic options trading concepts that even beginner traders would understand. In my opinion, Felix Prehn and the GOAT Academy is a 100% fraud and a scam operation. It's not going to teach you anything of value. Watch this entire video because there is tons of information and evidence as to why Felix Prehn and the GOAT Academy is a scam and a fraud.
Then I became an investment banker. Sometimes in life, something good happens to you. I was visiting Hong Kong for 2 weeks. I met a friend of a friend who was an investment banker. And I said, I'm actually looking for a job. I'd love to stick around here for a while. It's an amazing city. He said, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine is hiring. Have you got a CV? Send it. I did. Next day, I was being interviewed by a bunch of investment bankers, grilled, and bizarrely, they hired. And I had to run out and buy myself 2 cheap suits because I only had shorts and T-shirts. And the next Monday, I started working on the trading floor of a major investment.
Yeah, the probability of that happening is 0%. Additionally, investment bankers don't even work on trading floors. I worked as an investment banker for about 5 years, and I never saw the trading floor once. So for him to say that he got an investment banking job from a friend and then he started work shortly thereafter is a complete lie. It doesn't happen that quickly. Also, nobody who's legitimate, who's worked as an investment banker, would ever mix up working as a trader. It just doesn't happen. As an investment banker, you're putting together financial models. You're essentially matching people who have money and are looking to invest with companies who can take that money and then grow it at an acceptable rate to the investor. And anyone who's ever worked in an investment bank would never mix up being an institutional trader with being an investment banker. So for him to claim that he worked as an investment banker and then started working on a trading firm when I've worked at 3 investment banks and have never been on the trading floor is a complete lie.
I had all these guys, and what I learned is that making 100% a year on their personal money, that was their normal. And I was like, that isn't possible.
Yeah, you're right. It's not possible because you're lying again. So let me get this straight. Around 90 to 95% of hedge funds can't even beat the S&P 500, but your quote-unquote banker friends at your fake investment bank are making 100% a year, and that's normal? If that's actually true, that would easily make them the richest people in the world within about 15 to 20 years. So that's another lie from Felix. Everything that comes out of this clown's mouth is complete BS.
Work hard, work all your life, save for a pension, invest your money as in hand it over to the bank, and if you're really lucky, you make 8%. And these guys are making 100%. So I thought, okay, this can't be right. And then I got to know
Right, because you're lying. It's not right. You're just making it up.
what we're doing. And I was the bond trader next to me. I was a hedge fund strategist. My boss was very kind and taught me a huge amount. And there were the brokers in front of me, all on the phone with the big screens and all that noise of what's happening in there. And I was just a sponge. I absorbed it. I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could because I thought, well, these 0.1% know how to do it. Incredibly unfair, but I'd rather be the 0.1% than the 99%. And maybe I thought, maybe we could do something about bridging this unfairness and knowledge, this imbalance. I didn't know how, but that was my thought. I also embraced the banker. Look, here I am. Look at those white collars and the wraparound shades. I mean, what a twit, right? But yeah, that was me in Hong Kong. And then I quit. Create rules that doesn't leave any room for emotions because bank billions of dollars and just hire people and say, go and do your best. No, they give you rules so that you don't lose all their money, right? That's the way big banks work. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to employ tens of thousands of people.
No, actually, the way that big banks make money is they act as market makers, where they're making a few basis points from the bid-ask spread differential and matching buyers and sellers. That's institutional trading. There's not prop trading going on. Instead, it's riskless profits by making just a few basis points on large volumes of transactions. So don't let him mislead you here because he's lying again.
So I needed that rule book. I needed a system. I needed a real protocol that I could actually trust every day. And I'm honestly not a guy who can handle big loss. I just can't handle the emotions. Not for me. I don't even like big wins. And you might think, who the heck doesn't like big wins? I wanted consistency. I wanted reliability. I wanted to pay rent. I didn't want to buy a yacht. So that predictable income was my goal. And in that first 9 months, lying horizontally with my cat Tallulah, well, I made money at.
Yeah, well, notice how he's using animals here in order to gain your trust. The reality is that his trading system is horrible, and every single trade that you make is going to have a negative expected value, and that's something that we're going to discuss later on in this video. You'll see it. The math works out where, one, this whole rules-based thing that he's talking about is a complete lie. The more questions that you ask him, suddenly the more rules that he has. And additionally, the trading strategy that he encourages you to trade is expected to lose you money for every single trade that you make.
I lost money. I lost money. But I had a huge advantage that you don't have. I could call a trader, a broker, an investment banker who's been doing this for decades and go, just did this, lost money. What did I do wrong? How can...
Yeah, again, that's another lie. Investment bankers do not work directly with the stock market, and the traders at these banks are institutional traders. Nothing that an institutional trader learns or nothing about the way that institutional traders actually make money for the firm is applicable to retail traders.
Prevent this. How can I improve my protocol? And they'd help me. So in that period, I created my trading. And the results are honestly phenomenal because I figured out how to make consistent profit.
That's another lie. His trading system loses money. That's why he doesn't show his trades. He doesn't show his trading statements. And on the bottom of his emails, it explicitly says that he's making hypothetical trades.
And I just have to follow my rules. That's really all there is to it. So,
yeah, right. But you keep adding more and more rules to this quote unquote simple strategy for every question that you're asked.
How did I get there? Well, I've got written rules. They work. And they work week after week. That's simple, doesn't it? Well, once you know how it works, it's pretty simple. And that's how it got to consistent profits. So there isn't one, there are 500. So it just makes our life a lot easier. It's also the most liquid stock in the world. And it just saves us a ton of time not reading all the earnings reports and not being an expert on every stock trade. Now,
so that's interesting. He says that he trades SPY and SPX, but in all of his examples, he doesn't actually trade SPY or SPX.
Number two, first part of it, which Winston's looking at very attentively.
There again, he's using animals as a way to gain your trust.
It's 2 to 5% in size of your portfolio. we always use the same size. We don't make it up as we go along. Why? It reduces risk, keeps us calm, as our losses and our wins will be small. Remember me talking about wanting consistency? So no more scary losses, no more frustration. Now, what does it mean in reality? Well, say your portfolio is $20,000 and you use 5% per trade, then each trade will be $1,000 in size. Now, what's your risk, you wonder? Well, we set a stop loss at 10%, a hard stop loss, automatic. Successful traders love taking small losses, and they avoid the big loss. Taking losses is, however, very, very hard to do.
That is true, though. So even though this guy is a compulsive liar, it is very important for successful traders to be risk-seeking and to avoid the loss aversion that seems to plague a lot of people when they trade and when they invest.
So you have no more of this, oh, let me just wait for it to recover, give it another 5 minutes, see what happens. And that's what most people do. And then they are not down 10%, but suddenly they're down 80% and their capital is gone. We don't do that. No more emotional decisions when you're in a trade. So for example, if your trade is at $1,000 in size, the maximum you can lose is $100. No more. How about profits? Well, this is the fun. We have a tiered profit-taking structure. We sell half of the trade at 10%. We sell a quarter of the trade, 15%. And we sell another quarter, the last quarter of the trade, at 20 to 25%. For example, if your trade's $1,000, we take 10%, the first half of the trade, so we made $50. The next quarter, we take at 15%, so we made $37.50. And then the last quarter, fun part, we let it ride a little bit, and we take profit.
Yeah, so this is also a complete lie. When you sell options, the maximum amount of money that you're going to make is going to be the premium you collected. So if you have a maximum loss of $1,000, that means the width or the difference between the option that you sell and the option that you buy is going to be $10 wide because one contract equals 100 shares. So your maximum loss is going to be, let's say, $1,000. But the credit that you receive if you're going to sell options and you're going to choose high probability trading with a high win rate, then you might only collect about $100 of premium for making that trade. So you're going to risk $1,000 max loss, but your maximum gain, even if you keep all of the premium, is only going to be $100. So in this situation, he's lying to you again. If you're going to close out at 10%, then you're only going to make $10. You're not going to make $50 because you're going to make 10% of your maximum profit, which is going to be the credit that you received. It's not going to be 10% of your maximum loss. So this is another lie where Felix is intentionally misleading you, or he just simply doesn't understand options trading at all. So basically, mathematically, this system does not work. Your maximum loss is going to be $1,000. You're going to have a 10% stop loss. That means that you're going to lose $100. Let's say you lose that 30% of the time. That means that the expected loss on this trade structure is going to be $30. Now, if you collect $100 of premium, that's going to be your maximum profit, and then you close out the profit early, then you're only going to collect around $15 to $20 of that $100 max. And that's going to occur 70% of the time because you'll have around a 70% win rate. So in that situation, your expected gain is going to be around $14, whereas your expected loss is going to be around $30. His trade structure is horrible and it doesn't work unless you actually want to lose money.
They have 25%, so we make $62.50. So overall, the potential profit on the trade is $150 or 15% $1,000 size. Pretty good. So in summary, this three-step trading plan is trade one, trade only one stock, the SPX, the S&P 500.
Right, that's what he says, but he never does that. In all the examples that he shows, he doesn't show SPY or SPX.
Step two, fix a trade size, 2 to 5%. Step three, we automate. Automate the profit taking, and we have a hard stop loss. We rinse and repeat.
Right, you're going to rinse and repeat the losses because every time you make this trade, your expectation should be that you're going to lose money.
Using this trading plan has not just done wonders for me, but it could do the same for you. And the little bonus thrown in here, each trade we do has a 75% probability of making money.
This guy doesn't understand anything about options. If you're going to have a 75% probability of profit and your maximum loss is going to be $1,000 and you're trading SPY, then you're probably only going to end up collecting around $70 of premium. And if you're going to close everything at a 15% profit take, then you're looking at a maximum profit of only around $10 every single time you make the trade and an expected loss of around $30. So this trade structure isn't even close to being profitable.
That means you don't need to be right on direction. And yes, in our program, we spend a lot of time imparting our knowledge and experience on how you can be more right on direction more frequently. Yet at the same time, I'd still rather absorb the wisdom and experience from people who've managed.
I'd love to learn what investment bank he claims to have worked at. He probably made it up entirely.
Billions of dollars for investment banks and hedge funds, then try to figure
Yeah, that's probably another lie.
out in my dark garage on my own. Let me show you this. So in 2022, and I run a small portfolio for our community live. And why small? Because I want to encourage people to trade responsibly. And in 2022, we made 126% on return on capital employed. And in 2023 so far, it's over 90.
My gut feeling is that he's completely lying. The probability of that occurring on this structure, which has a negative expected value, is close to 0%. And additionally, this whole thing on capital employed is a way to deceive you. The only thing that matters is that your net liquidation value on your account increases. So this whole capital employed thing is used to manipulate you.
It's over 90%. Imagine a few more years of this and how much that would have changed my overall balance, right? So time is the most expensive. Now, our mission is very simple. I want to make 1 million people financially free. And in my book, that means being able to live off your investments and your trading. But every time I go to work now in the mornings for my shift, I have this big smile. It's because I know I don't have to be here. But you know what?
Again, this is him trying to use visualization to manipulate you, when in reality, this clown doesn't understand anything about trading.
Well, we need to break the monopoly on knowledge.
As mentioned, banks make money as market makers, and it's not applicable to retail trading.
Honest picture of where you're at, your struggles are, what your goals are. You will probably have some questions. Full opportunity to grill us on everything you want. I guarantee our program as follows. We have a simple 90-day money-back guarantee. All I ask is that you complete the program. And you know what? If it wasn't for you, I'm even going to pay you $50 just for wasting your time to give you a little bit of ROI.
So this is what he does. I believe that he chose 90 days because that's the timetable where people cannot dispute a charge and submit a chargeback to their credit card company. After 90 days, the customer can no longer submit a chargeback to their credit card company. So what he does, and there's evidence of this later on in the video, he will tell you that he'll refund you after 90 days and just stick with the program and go through it. And then after 90 days, he'll tell you that the refund policy has changed and then he's not going to give you your money back. So again, this is another way of manipulating the situation and trying to gain your trust, when in reality, his behavior is very predatory because he doesn't actually honor the money back guarantee.
I return on your time and investment. O'Reilly is brand new to us and did her first 3 trades today, and she made $200 in 1 day.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting because if she claims to have made her first 3 trades, then the P&L for the day should be equal to the P&L for the year to date, which it's not in this situation.
$200 in 1 day.
And then regarding what he shows as his actual trades, he's showing just the spreadsheet. And then look at this average cash used and the ROI and the annualized ROI. This doesn't make any sense at all. The thing that people care about is their net liquidation value or their total account size. It's the same thing. And his trading strategy is expected to lose money. So he's showing this average cash used, which means absolutely nothing, and the percent ROI and the annualized ROI in order to manipulate you into thinking that this is an amazing trading strategy that's going to produce outsized returns and that's going to make you consistent income, when in reality, the probability that you're going to lose money by trading this system is close to 100%.
I mean, a little bit about myself. I suppose my name's Aaron. So I'm just one of the enrollment specialists here with Felix for the past while. And yeah, I guess Felix is obviously, somewhat popular across social media. I mean, we have a lot of people who are looking to enter the program. And I guess it's really just my role to make sure that we're bringing in the right people. So, I mean, look, if I feel like it makes sense for us to work together, Brian, I'll really break down what that looks like later in the call.
Have you taken the course? Are you very familiar with like options trading?
Yeah, a little bit. No, I'm not like a coach. I'm not a mentor inside the program. I don't want to compare myself to those guys. They're a lot better options compared to myself. So I guess obviously I deal a lot more with in terms of enrollment side of things. But yeah, I'll be able to kind of understand what you're saying, right?
Have you like placed options trades before, or you have?
Yeah, not too much. Like it's not like my main focus right now.
Okay.
Like a lot of my time and energy does go towards helping Felix out. I got a couple goals within that. I know you mentioned the income stream, right? But I think that's like the main thing we help people do. Like I think the main thing we help a lot of people do is achieve the income stream. Like that kind of is, I think, the backbone reason why most people join, right? I think we're all here to make money, but maybe you've got goals that are rooted in other areas, right? Because like I'll speak to people and yeah, they want to make an extra stream of income, but the real goal is they want to be able to work from anywhere in the world. Like to them, that's what really matters. Or maybe they've got 2 part-time jobs and they want to spend a bit more time with their family or spend a bit more time with the kids, or they want to travel a little bit more, whatever that may be. But like just say in terms of those more like personal goals for yourself, Brian, like what would you say they look like for yourself?
I'm not sure. Like first and foremost, I want to make sure that I don't really like lose money, or if I do lose, then it's like a little amount, because when you lose, it's harder to earn that back.
I'm glad to hear that it's something that you've thought through. Like it sounds like you know why you're starting, you know what your goals are. Like you said, education, I want to learn, I want to develop a skill set. And I think we love when we have students who are coming through kind of essentially just with that mindset, because I'm sure you probably see it on social media nowadays, Brian. There tends to maybe be this, I don't know, kind of whole ideology of get rich quick and millionaires overnight and whatever. Like we try and steer away from that the best we can. So we love when we have guys coming through like yourself, where you know why you're starting, you know what your goals are, and you know what it is that you want to achieve from the whole thing. So I think that's cool. And then
what's the minimum for this program to work out? Like, what do you recommend for the minimum?
Yeah, I'd say maybe what we'd recommend as like a minimum with getting started with is, I mean, I know you mentioned you got like a couple grand, $100,000 to play with, which is great. But obviously, yeah, we'd kind of maybe recommend like a minimum of 5K coming through. I know Felix sometimes says 10, even with jumping in, but we've students who will start out with say 5K in a portfolio. But yeah, we'd probably recommend maybe around that like 5K mark just as a minimum to start out with.
And then do we have like a target monthly percentage gain that we strive for? Like what's realistic?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's quite different from person to person, in terms of like returns. And obviously like we can't guarantee returns kind of against the SEC. But like if you look at say Felix, obviously Felix has had a lot of time to develop the skill set. He's been on that learning curve for quite a long time. So it won't be quite the same as Felix. But like say if you look at Felix, say over the past 2 years, he's got like this public portfolio he does for the community. I think in 2022, he got like around 105, 110%. And then 2023 is quite similar. So that's kind of looking at like trying to strive towards like 10, 12% a month marks. But obviously I know like that takes a lot of effort to kind of get to that point.
I'm sorry to interrupt. He's made like 10% a month on his total account size.
Yeah. So on capital employed is what that is. So on the capital employed within his public portfolio.
Okay.
Like a lot of what the students are striving towards inside is kind of around that like 8% a month mark really is kind of what most people are striving towards in there. And it's achievable. Got a lot of students who are doing that.
Do you know what that works out to on like the total account size though? Because the return on capital is like, it's a little bit different than the total account size.
Yeah, well, 100%. Well, it differs from person to person, right? Like that's the thing with returns is you can't really give a generic like average return because there's so many different variables to take into consideration. There's so many different types of people who are investing so many different types of amounts of money with different amounts of time, making a different number of trades. So it's kind of tough to like give you one concrete answer of like, oh yeah, you're going to make this much. Mm-hmm. That's just like a rough idea to answer your question, to kind of give you an idea of maybe what to expect or what to kind of strive towards coming in. Okay. So it's kind of different person to person, if that makes sense. from the sounds of things, Brian, I definitely think that we'd be able to help you out inside. So I'd be happy to kind of dive into a bit more detail just about what we do, what it looks like to work with us and these different types of things. You think that sounds like a conversation worth having? Group coaching program, solely group focused, one-on-one mentoring program, mainly one-on-one focused, but also with your group running in there too. Now, obviously, with the different types of programs comes different tuitions, but they all range in and around the $3,000 mark to the $6,000, with the group coaching being on the lower end of that, and then the one-on-one mentoring being on the higher end of that. So I thought I'd just shout those out off the bat, Brian. Just get your thoughts, because I know some people come in like specifically looking for group coaching. Other people come in specifically looking for one-on-ones, and others don't really mind. So it's just about figuring out what works best for you. But what are your thoughts off the bat, Brian? Do you have much of a preference over one or the other?
Well, I think I would be more open to the one-on-one because I do have the ability to have a larger account. So if I can learn faster and reduce the amount of mistakes that I make, then I could easily make up and compensate for that $3,000 difference in in a few trades. So, time is valuable. So I'm not necessarily against, the one-on-one.
For sure, man. Yeah.
Do we trade on margin? Because I'm not sure if I have margin enabled. Do we use margin or is it only cash?
Yeah, we don't use margin.
Okay, no margin. Okay. Oh, do you know if we're primarily buying or selling options?
We would be primarily selling.
Selling options. And I assume that because we're not using any margin that we're trading spreads as opposed to, right?
That's correct.
And then...
Yeah, mainly spread based. Yeah, we kind of mainly primarily trading the SPY, focusing on this 2 or 3 main strategies. They're all mainly spreads.
Basically selling spreads on SPY.
Yes.
You mentioned having a high win rate. Do you know what's the win rate that we usually target?
So we're targeting kind of 70%, 80% in probability trades.
Okay.
Majority. Yeah. We just want to take the emotions out of it the best we can. And when you really start to focus on a little bit more rule-based trading, it just really, really helps balance that risk versus reward, right?
And the rule-based trading, I assume that we're manually entering everything, right? We're not using a trading bot or anything like that. When you say no, you mean we are
not trading bot. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
we don't use bots to set that.
Okay.
We also have 24/7 tech support inside there as well, Brian. You probably know yourself. Sometimes brokerages and trading tools can be a bit of a pain. So if you need help, just let us know. And then we also have a 100% guarantee in there too. But I mean, here at the Goat Academy, we've had coaching and mentoring programs now over the past couple of years. So we've taught thousands of students throughout that time frame. But yeah, we got a guarantee. We say after the 12 months of using the trading protocol and following the risk management system, if you feel as if you didn't get the value that you were expecting from the program, you're able to get 100% of our course fees. Do you get any questions at all about anything that we've went through there?
A few questions. Does he show his live trades or his trading statements or anything like that?
Yeah. So like I said, he has the public portfolio that he does for the community where you can see all of his trades in. And then he also does live trading. So like I said, one of the kind of the group coaching calls that we might have, one of the types is live trading sessions. And both Felix does that and the other coaches inside as well. So the other coaches do them a little bit more than Felix. Felix might do them maybe twice a month, on one of the weeks. The other coaches do them basically every single week. So.
Okay. And the public portfolio, where is that available?
But it's a public portfolio for the community.
Okay.
So I guess it's when you're in there, you'll have access to the whole thing.
And is that from the broker or is how does that look?
So that's basically just it's you see the trades that he's making on his brokerage. And you just get to see kind of the growth of that kind of specific portfolio. It's not like his personal one. It's just one that he does for the community. To kind of, it's a little bit, he has a set amount in it and he shows how much you can grow with that. So that's a public portfolio. You see each of the trades that he does. I think it's a spreadsheet and you kind of see every time he makes a trade, kind of the update on it.
And really my only concern, I'm just not certain if I'm going to get the returns that I would like. But when you sell premium, the max profit is going to be the amount that you receive. So I would think if we're selling spreads on SPY at a 75% win rate or something, then the amount of credit that we would receive would be, probably pretty small, right? Maybe 5% of the width of the strikes. So,
okay. So yeah, in terms of I'm probably not the best person to kind of answer maybe that kind of specifically, right? But what I would say is, like, Brian, if you're coming through and maybe having worries with the returns, I mean, I know you mentioned like if you could make an extra 5% a year, that is 100% achievable. I mean, that's 100% achievable. We've got multiple students who have done that in the past. We've got tons of experienced students who come through and beginners. That's 100% achievable. What I would say is like the strategy we're using inside, the coaches, the mentors, they all have genuine institutional experience. A lot of them have quite similar backgrounds that Felix does within investment banking. Some of them with even more. They've all got decades of experience. They're managing millions of portfolios. They're all actively trading day in and day out right now.
So
one of our coaches,
he worked as an investment banker.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think he said that, right?
Oh yeah. And most of the coaches inside as well. They've ran. One of our coaches, Patrick, runs a family fund. He does this specific strategy within that. We've had market makers. We have floor traders inside. We have people who've worked for large hedge funds. These are all guys with genuine institutional experience, right? I think that's kind of the way, once again, that's one of the bigger value adds that we've got inside the program. Like with the mentoring program, you get a chance to speak with these guys one-on-one every week if you like, right? So the strategy side, what I would say is if you're coming in and maybe there's a little bit of doubt in terms of the returns, I mean, you kind of laid out a couple of little goals at the start, which I thought were quite achievable goals, quite conservative as well. I think you could even strive for more than that. And while I may not be able to specifically kind of dive into the specifics of options and kind of answer those kind of finer detailed questions, I know for a fact, because I've seen hundreds and hundreds of students come through the program and do the exact same thing, that, getting to those 5, 6, 8% months are achievable. It just kind of, we have the system inside to where it is achievable. And now you just got to kind of focus on less like, okay, does the strategy work? And am I willing to put in the inputs, the time, the energy, the work in order to get the outputs? And I think students who kind of come in with that mindset, first and foremost, like you said at the start, kind of less worrying about like, how much are we going to make? What are the type of returns? And letting that hold you back from jumping in. And more so being excited to the thought of developing a skill set and kind of, learning this new thing, working with some really, really experienced coaches, being a part of a really great community and kind of foster your skill set.
If we collect $50 of premium and then, there's a profit take at like 15%. So then we're collecting $7.50 and then we close out another, 15% and another at 20. But then there's a loss on the entire position. There's a stop loss of 25%. So 25% of 1,000 is $250. But the total expected gain is going to be, is going to override the capture rate of the premium would be less. Am I doing something wrong or is that math? Because maybe I'm not understanding it correctly.
Yeah. See, once again, like I don't want to give you an answer that I sound confident in, but I'm actually not in.
Yeah, because I'm not confident either. I'm not confident. I'm not confident in in the question that I'm asking. I'm like, maybe my numbers are completely off. I'm just saying like, if we capture, $50 a premium, but then the max loss is 1,000. And then
I can't imagine like that's how it would work out because, then I just can't see why the coaches would do it that way. If that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
you won't be able, again, the type of results that the students are getting. And like the strategy we use is like a genuine strategy.
Of course. I don't doubt that.
So of course. It's just like, I can't answer that specifically, but I can imagine it is a little bit different. But what I'll do for you, Brian, is I will pass that question on to Felix. I'll ask him maybe to record a quick personal video or something just to maybe clear that up for you, because I do want to make sure that you get that clarity. I mean, like, I want to make sure that you can get that clarity. I just maybe might not be the best person to answer that, unfortunately. So I will definitely 100% pass that question on to Felix. And he'll be able to give you like the perfect answer ever. He'll be able to give you the most clear answer about how that all works.
The only thing, like just for clarity's sake, is just on the math. Because, I had made like a few options trades where, and I'm not trying in any way to challenge you. I just want you to understand what I'm asking. Like, let's say if the spread has a max loss of 1,000 and then we have a win rate of 75%, and then we collect even like $100 of premium, And then, but we're not going to actually profit and keep all of that $100. So then, like, even if we keep 30% of that 100, that's $30 versus, the max loss, with the stop loss. So that's my question. I'm not challenging you or anything. I just want to know like what the answer is.
No.
So after my call with Aaron, I received this follow-up email. I want to express my appreciation. And then they provided me with more details. Explore Felix's methodology for achieving 80% probability trades by visiting this document. So we'll check that out. And I've checked this video out as well. There's really nothing in this video that wasn't already said in a previous video. And then here's the attachment where it says, why choose this program? Master trading with just one stock. That's definitely a huge inconsistency because in his marketing materials, he indicates that they only trade SPX or SPY, but then in all the other examples that they show, they always show something else. It's very strange and also inconsistent that they consistently harp on only trading one stock when they don't do that. It's just completely false. And then, etc. So let's go through the Word document. So the Word document, how to find 80% probability trades for passive income. You do this trade 10 times and you win 8 times. Simple so far. It's actually not that simple because here you have the expected probability and then here you have the actual, and then there are things that you can do like managing early, etc., that are going to impact your win rate. But all right, it's not really a big deal. So let's move on. Option trades have a probability of winning. Well, yeah, when you sell options, you can look this up in any online broker. Not if you buy options, and it's going to have a negative probability of profit. If you bet on a stock going up or down, you have a 50-50 chance. This is gambling. Don't be the gambler, be the casino. Yeah, that's true. How do you find such 80% probability trades? Finding an 80% probability trade through optionswatch.io, sort by IV percentage. Click here to see our screening process. I'm very risk averse when it comes to selecting trades. So he basically only accepts 1 out of 3 that got suggested, which means that out of my, there's a typo there. Sorry for the investment banker in me, I can't help it. I remember I made a simple typo mistake on a pitch book that I was working on at CIBC with Brian Cotter. And this is at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he returned it to my desk. He circled it, put a huge question mark, and wrote WTF. So that was like my introduction into investment banking. But anyway, so he's claiming that he made money on 82% of his trades, even though he doesn't show his trading statements at all. And I also don't believe that he shows all his trades. Make sure you check whether the company has any announcements coming up, earnings, dividends, product launches. That's kind of strange that you would even be talking about that, considering that in almost all your marketing materials, you really only talk about trading SPY and SPX. But all right, not a big deal. Click here to see the first 50 stocks on my watch list. Okay. So now he went from trading one stock to 50 stocks on his watch list. Then look at how much the stock has moved. Move your trade up, down on the right and see how the gray break-even line moves. How many days did it take for the stock price to make a move big enough to break your line? Setting up quality trades is 80% of the job. Yeah, I do believe that. A lot of your risk and a lot of your probability is going to be determined by your entry, your strike chosen, the amount of premium that you receive, whether you sell a put or a call, whether it's naked versus a spread, etc. So I do agree with that. He spends about 3 hours per week trading. I do not stare at stock charts all day. I agree with that. If I wasn't running my trade alerts, I'd probably spend about 20 minutes a day just looking at the watch list, etc. So yeah, I set up alerts instead and enjoy my life. Yeah, I do that as well. I set up alerts on the stocks. Let's say I sell a put option with a strike price of 100 and then the stock is trading like 120, then I'll set an alert on that stock if it decreases below 110 to address that position. On TradingView, you can set alerts, warn you, okay? All right, real life example. This is the good stuff.
Let me walk you through a real life example. So Walgreens, even though I don't think that's SPY or SPX, but this stock has fallen a lot lately, so I select bearish strategy, bear call spread. I'm actually opposite. This is definitely not how I trade. Look, the reality is you want to trade the best stocks. First of all, I would never trade a stock like Walgreens, but additionally, I'm going to trade stocks like Microsoft or Amazon or JP Morgan or SPY or IWM, etc. And what I do the complete opposite, where if Amazon falls below a certain level, then I'm going to sell a put option with a strike price of where I actually want to own that stock. Here, what he's doing is he's selling a call spread after the stock has already fallen. The biggest problem with this is if you sell a call spread on a stock that's already fallen a lot lately, just like he says in this document, then you're not going to collect much premium at all. So even though I wouldn't trade Walgreens, he does the complete opposite of how I would trade. But okay, whatever, let's move on. So he sells a call spread. I usually play around with the strike prices to get the best return for the highest probability. Okay, so for this trade, I'm getting a net credit potential profit of $14.50 for a max loss of $135.50. The amount of money needed to make this trade for a potential 11% profit. Okay, so this is what he did, and it's exactly what I mentioned earlier. He sold a call spread that's $1.50 wide. Because remember, every contract that you sell is 100 shares. So if you sell one call spread that's $1.50 wide, let's say you sell the call at 25, you would then buy a call at $26.50. So that would give you a maximum loss of $150, but you would also pick up and collect some credit. So in this case, you're collecting $14.50, so your maximum loss would be the difference between the width of the strikes, which is $1.50, less the credit you received, which is about 15 cents. And then you multiply that by 100, and that gives you the numbers that he has here. All right? The probability of the trade making money is 79%. What about the stock chart? You can see the gray break-even lines in Options Watch. So here, Walgreens is trading at $21.72. He's selling a call spread that's $1.50 wide, and he picked up 15 cents. What does that mean? The stock price could go up to $22.65 or go down, and I make money. This is what I call a market neutral trade. We make money if the stock goes up or if the stock falls. It's definitely not a market neutral trade. It's also not a delta neutral trade. You're short a call option. You're directional. Here's what the trade would look like in my broker, and for some reason he didn't include that. Here's the biggest problem. First of all, Walgreens Boots Alliance is not SPY like he claims in all his marketing materials. The second thing is that mathematically this does not work out. He's claiming 11% max profit. That really doesn't matter much in this situation because what he teaches you is that he's going to take 50% of the profit after a 10% gain, and then he's going to take another 25% and the remaining 25% after a 20% gain. And what he means by gain in this situation is the premium capture. So your maximum profit in this situation, let's say it's going to be 15 cents a contract, so it's going to be $15. So if this trade expired worthless and he was able to keep 100% of the premium, then he would keep $15. But he's not doing that. He's keeping less than 15%. I think it's around 13.75. But again, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that he keeps 15% of the premium. So $15 times 0.15. He's keeping $2.25. And this is before commissions, and this is before slippage. Your maximum profit on this trade, with his trading rules, which he stresses so much about automatic trading rules, you don't have to think about it. Your expected profit by trading his system after profit taking is $2.25. All right, and real quick, max profit of $15, you take 10% of that, so that's $1.50. You cut that in half, so that gives an expected value of 75 cents. Then at 15%, he takes 25%. So 0.75, 1.31. And then the incremental one is 15 times 0.2. So that's 3 times 0.25 plus 1.31. So yeah, $2.06. So around $2. Okay. Now, what about the maximum loss? Your maximum loss on this trade is going to be around $135. And what he says by using this 79% chance of profit is not applicable to his strategy. This 79% chance of profit takes into account the deltas when you put that trade on. But if you have a very aggressive stop loss on this trade where you close out your trade after you see a 10% loss, then there's probably around a 40 to 60% probability that that 10% stop loss is actually going to get touched. Because that stop loss is so incredibly aggressive where you're only giving 10% leeway that there's probably a 40 to 60% probability that just based upon the near-term price variance, that this position is going to show you a 10% loss at some time or another. Now, I believe that the probability that you will be forced to close out this position for a $13.50 loss is around 40 to 60%, just based upon regular variance in price movements. But again, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, and let's say that it only happens 30% of the time, okay? So that means you're going to take a $13.50 loss 30% of the time, which I strongly believe is significantly below the expected outcome of this trade. So your expected loss is going to be $4. Now, that $2, and I think it was like $2.06 for your maximum, that, remember, this happens 30% of the time, right? You're going to lose $4. Let's just make it easy. Then you're going to win $2. But because this loss happens 30% of the time, the win is going to happen 70% of the time. So your true net gain is $1.40, and your true loss is going to be $4. So the real expected probability based upon his trade structure is going to be a loss of $2.60. Now, this isn't even factoring in commissions. It's not factoring in slippage or anything of that nature. Your expected outcome, and I believe that this number, this $2.60, is significantly understated. I think that the real number, when you factor in slippage from the bid-ask spread differential and also commissions, is going to be closer to about $4 or $5 for every contract that you put on. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and go with the most favorable numbers. You're still losing money and have a negative probability for every single call spread that you put on with this trade. It's just completely horrible. Not only is it completely inconsistent with what he was saying earlier about only trading SPY or SPX, the trade structure itself does not work. The strategy itself is just horrible. Let me just briefly walk you through it once more. Your maximum loss is going to be $135. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say that that happens 30% of the time, even though I think it's going to happen much more because you have really tight stop losses on there where your maximum loss is going to be 10% and then he's going to close it out. I believe it's going to happen 40 to 60%, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it's only going to happen 30%. And then because he's capping that at only a 10% loss, so his expected loss is going to be $4. Then his maximum gain when you sell options is going to be the credit that you received. And then he collected $14.50. Let's just say it's 15. Again, we'll use numbers that are very favorable towards him. And I know that his max premium capture rate is around 13.5%, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it's 15%. So that's 2.25. And then since you're not going to win all your trades, and we estimated that his loss is going to be 30%, so his win rate is going to be 70%, and therefore his expected gain is going to be $1.60 for every time he utilizes this trade structure. His expected loss is going to be $4, and therefore his expected loss, or your expected loss as a member, every single call spread that you sell is going to have an expected loss of over $2. I believe it's closer to around $4. And because he has a tendency to trade very large from what he showed previously from some of his students, if you trade 50 contracts on this, then your expected loss is going to be at least $120. This is just math and probabilities, guys. So in my opinion, Felix and Goat Academy is a complete fraud. He uses animals to manipulate people's perception of him. He's a great salesman, and similar to someone like Terry Igioma, he's very likable when he's on, when he has that salesman personality. And that's probably why his channel is so large, but he doesn't show his trading statements. His strategy is horrible. He's lied about being an investment banker. His 90-day unbeatable refund policy is complete garbage. There have been numerous people who have indicated that they've been unable to obtain a refund. The most important thing is that his trading strategy is at best inconsistent, where he says you're only going to trade SPY. Well, all the examples that he gives are trading individual underlyings. So he's not consistent in that regard. But much more importantly, his trading strategy is garbage. If you run the numbers, you will lose money. And as someone who's traded options for over 10 years, I can tell you with close to 100% certainty that this trading structure and this trading strategy is completely garbage, and you will lose money by trading it. There's no doubt in my mind. He's using this trade as an example, and this logic doesn't even make sense to me, because it makes much more sense if this is an underlying like Meta or Nvidia or Microsoft and something that you actually want to own. Just sell put options. Let's say it was trading at about 25 and it fell to 20 and you really want to own it at 18. Because the implied volatility on that stock is going to be relatively high because it's already fallen from 25 to 20, you can sell a put option, collect a decent amount of premium, and then you could own it at $18. If you want to own it at a lower strike price, then sell a put option at 17 and then you can run the wheel strategy on it. Overall, his strategy is complete garbage. In my opinion, Felix Prehn is a compulsive liar. I also believe that almost all of his members are going to lose money. And this strategy can be learned for free, and it's incredibly simplistic. But I think more importantly is not only is it a losing trade structure from a probabilistic standpoint, but you can easily learn everything for free elsewhere. But even if you decide to pay him thousands of dollars and you learn everything that he has to teach, you're likely going to lose money by using this trade structure. It's horrible. So I would not recommend that anyone trades the Goat Academy trading structure, and I would also not recommend following the Goat Academy. In most of Felix's videos, he just talks a lot, but he doesn't say anything of value. He doesn't show all his trades, and he also doesn't show his full trading statements. And I don't blame him, because if I was trading a garbage strategy like this that has a negative expected probability of profit, then I wouldn't show anything either. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, then leave a comment below. And if you like this video, then I welcome you to subscribe to this channel, and I appreciate your attention. So I got this email response from Aaron. I don't necessarily want to clown on Aaron because I had like a 50-minute conversation with him and I got the impression that he was a pretty good guy. He's not an options trader. His job is to enroll people in Felix's course. And he didn't really say anything manipulative. And overall, I got a decent impression of him. So let's just watch these videos that Felix made and we'll see what comes out of it.
Hey, Brian, Felix here. I put your question sent over to me. And first of all, I love that you're looking to learn, love that you're looking to make your money work harder for you and you're kind of thinking this through. And you're spot on. It's all about risk management ultimately. So our job as traders is to not lose a lot of money. That's the primary objective we have. We do that. The math works out quite well. So the assumption in your calculation is that every loss would be the maximum. Sorry, just going to a tunnel.
No, that's completely false. The assumption is not that every loss is going to be the maximum. What I explicitly asked was that using your numbers, the math does not work. And actually, it's not even close to working. Every credit spread that's put on using your trading system has a very large expected loss. And using your rules where you're using very aggressive stop losses at only 10% of the maximum loss, that leads to a loss for every credit spread of around $2 to $4 per contract. So you're not even answering my question because I'm not assuming that everything's going to be a maximum loss. Instead, I'm using your rules with a 10% stop loss.
This should just go from the airport here.
That's so funny. This guy's such a narcissist that he has to throw in that he's going to the airport. And the reason why he's doing that is he wants to make himself look important.
If the maximum stop loss, which isn't the case. One, it doesn't always happen like that way, because we can obviously interject. But two, we teach you something called adjustments, and it allows us to literally reduce the risk of a trade that's gone wrong halfway through the trade by essentially putting the trade on the other side. That would be sort of the easiest way to describe that, which overall reduces the amount of capital at risk because we collect some extra premium. And maybe
that is 100% false, and that's also a lie. When you're adjusting a position, you're adding more contracts. So what he's saying is that if your call spread is going to be close to being challenged, by him saying that you're going to add additional positions on the other side, I'm assuming that he's saying he's going to add some put options. So you're actually increasing the size and the risk of that trade because now you can get stopped out on the call side, and then you can also get challenged on the put side if the stock ends up reversing course and going down. So for him to say that you're going to reduce the risk on the position by adding to it is completely 100% false.
That's just like way above, but that's essentially the way we do that.
Yes, Felix, I'm sure it's really advanced for you to add some put options on the other side and then allocate that premium towards either reducing the width of the strikes on the call spread or simply closing out the position. That sounds really, really advanced, when in reality, you can learn all this stuff for free and you don't have to pay this clown $6,000.
So you are basically spot on in the sense that you got to watch the losses so they stay small. And the second part, of course, is that we can take up.
Yeah, so he's not answering my question at all. The math is very simple. Conservatively, you're going to lose around $2 for every contract that you put on. I think that stop loss is going to get hit around 40 to 60% of the time. So I think that your actual loss is going to be closer to around $4 to $5 for every call spread that you put on.
I didn't realize this had a time limit. Obviously, I talk too much.
That's funny. That's actually the most self-aware thing that I've ever heard him say. This guy definitely has diarrhea of the mouth. Everything that comes out of his mouth is complete diarrhea.
So the second part is that we can also let our winners run more. So we can take, if you do have time to look at a trade once a day. If you don't, it's fine. But if you do, what we would then do is replace the stop loss with a trailing stop. So once something is, say, up 20%.
Yeah, a trailing stop. In my opinion, a trailing stop loss is only going to serve to decrease the expected value on your winning trades. I think that that's going to be a losing proposition and that you're actually going to lose more money by using a trailing stop loss. And also, it's super funny because he tries to make it seem like everything is automated and that you're trading with objective rules and that there's no subjectivity. But the more questions that you ask this clown, suddenly there's more subjectivity to what he teaches.
10%, say. Then we can take away all risk, make that zero, right? The risk is now zero.
That's another lie from Felix. Your risk is not going to be zero when every credit spread that you put on has a negative expected value and is expected to show you a loss.
And we let the trade run into a higher potential profit. And you factor in those two things and things will go a lot better. But like, any questions you have, anything you have at all really on your mind, Brian, just ping it over to me. We can also make a 3-way WhatsApp chat with me. And wish you all the best. Take care.
So yeah, Felix didn't answer my question at all. He didn't address the expected probability, and everything that came out of his mouth is complete BS. So Felix claims that his system is rule-based, but the more questions you ask, the more discretion there is. He's talking about rolling and making adjustments and then using trailing stops. Both of those things that he mentioned are going to increase your losses. Because when you roll, you're going to sell additional credit spreads. It's going to increase your risk and it's going to increase the size of that trade. Additionally, if you're going to use trailing stops, it's only going to stop out your winners sooner. So instead of losing anywhere from $2 to $4 for every trade that you make, you're probably going to end up losing anywhere from $4 to $6 if you roll and you adjust your trades like he's suggesting, or you implement trailing stops. Additionally, he's a hypocrite and he's contradicting himself. He's saying that this is a simple 3-step rules-based program. But it definitely doesn't seem very rules-based when he's talking about adding additional vertical credit spreads and then using a trailing stop. But in my opinion, his goal is solely to get you to sign up, and then if you're not happy, delay you until the 90 days expire. That way you cannot dispute the charge with your credit card company. So if you're unhappy, what you should do is email them once or twice and then give them a week. And then if they don't respond, immediately dispute the charge with your credit card company. Let's go through some of the reviews. Felix has not kept his promises. To the Master's Options Trading course, we were promised weekly live trading sessions every week, and months can go by and we were not seeing any trading sessions. He is always busy with his coaching students and his webinars. Next one, I do not recommend to anyone. I agree with many comments, just not worth it, and refund policy is a lie. I was more than 12 months in program, asked many times for a refund and nothing happened, so don't bother waiting for it. Probably his method to take your money and then fool you to wait to forget. Very, very disappointed that this is allowed in modern world where buyer has to be protected from fraud. I know my reviews will be suppressed, but I will keep writing. One person saved is a big blessing for me, and comment from Patrick down the way just to know that he is in team of Felix working as a coach. So I guess what they're saying is that Patrick has left a comment on Felix's Trustpilot, so you should be wary of that specific review. Next review, waste of money, largely a waste of money. The online courses are incomplete and mentoring course is extremely low value of money. A promised one-on-one session with Felix Prehn never materialized. There's no official course material. The lecturer I was allocated seemed disinterested, and what he spoke about had nothing to do with the scalping strategy for options trading described in Felix's online course. If you take the online courses seriously and ask enough questions to fill in the gaps, you'll find that options trading is hard, the margin's small, and that the consumer brokerages available to you may not offer the necessary tools for the job, and that the whole endeavor is best left to the professionals who also have better tools at their disposal than us consumers will ever have. No, I disagree with that. I think that what you're doing is you're just trading a garbage strategy that has a negative expected value, and the more you trade this strategy, the more you're going to lose. I think what Felix does is he tries to gain your trust using sociopathic tendencies by incorporating animals like dogs and cats, by sending very positive and upbeat emails, by offering you a money-back guarantee, and once he has you, you're just completely screwed. You're just delayed and stonewalled, and then once he has your money, you have no recourse. And then also, his trading strategy is completely garbage. You're going to lose money, and I believe that he actually doesn't even trade at all. I believe that almost all of the trades that he shows are just hypothetical trades, just like he says in the email. Felix's best advice is in regard to buying stocks. Keep investing broadly, never spend more than 5% on startups, and decades later you will come out a winner. But unless you're very lucky, there's no formula for getting rich quick. Don't bother. Felix will tout 10% returns per month using his method, which is just credit spreads. They say they have a 100% money back guarantee, but this is a lie. I've emailed them constantly and they continue to refuse to give me my refund. The only good thing about the course is one of the coaches named Patrick. If he had his own program, I would join that, but stay away at all costs. Next, just looking at some of the further reviews, I see they took the hard-earned money from a single mom and then refused the refund as they have to everyone. That is pathetic from a moral perspective. I'm still puzzled why there are positive reviews on this site. I guess for the people it works for, they like it. I completely disagree. I think his trading strategy is completely garbage and I don't think it works for anyone. However, do not count on any instance of ever getting your money back. If you do not like the course, don't make the mistake I did by signing up for the full mentorship, which is super expensive. If you want to try it, try the group lessons. At least you will only kiss 2,500 or whatever it is goodbye. So embarrassed to have been scammed by these folks. Good luck. Next, we have not what has been promised. No lifetime access to Discord. No explanation of earning strategies in the course material. No weekly live streams. Trades not being live updated. Questions not being answered. I haven't been removed, but the access is not forever. There is a 104-day countdown. I posted my trades with links and asked for feedback. None of the coaches answered. The same for others I saw posting their trades. I'm not confused using Discord. I wrote Felix a DM stating that the earning strategy was not in the course. I didn't get a reply on that. The program is well marketed but doesn't live up to the promises. Not what I was promised. Bad experience. I signed for options master course 90 days. They promised me that it is very easy, that child can do it. They promised me money back if I don't like it, and they promise for the time of course I will make my investment, which for the option course of $8,000, none of this came true. Didn't make $8,000. It is far from easy, and they also refused to make refund, which they promised. Censored my reviews, etc. Again, this is what they do. They build your trust. They promise you a full unbeatable refund. You then complain because you're unhappy. They tell you that in order to receive the refund, you have to go through the entire course. Then they delay until it's past the 90 days. That way you have no recourse and you can't submit a chargeback with your credit card companies. So therefore it's completely at their discretion. And then after the 90 days, they deny your refund. In my opinion, this is a complete 100% scam. And I'm also going to speak with one of my best friends, who's also my attorney. She handles all my cases. We're going to forward this information to the FTC because I know that even though Felix is not a US citizen, a lot of his students are probably from the United States. So I'm curious to see if the government can take action against him, because what he's essentially doing is baiting and switching by promising a refund. So therefore students or members who enroll think that they have nothing to lose. And then when they realize that this whole thing is a scam, he then delays them so that they can't contact their credit card company, and then he denies the refund. Bad experience. I had many bad experiences with Goat Academy. I paid for options master course at $8,000, didn't get what I was promised, and it is not easy work. Full day job for a few months that in the end, you will find out coaches hardly get average at 2% per month. 2% a month, I completely disagree. I think that they lose money or they don't trade at all. You are definitely not going to make 2% a month on a strategy that has a negative expected value. I complained, wanted my money back like they promised. They said that I must complete the course before complaining, so I did, and in the end they just said that they changed policy and no money back is possible. So in my opinion, it was a trick with all promises, and in the end, nothing like promise. I have all evidence, pictures, mails, etc. Not fair from Felix. If you make commitment for return policy and you advertise it, you must also stick to it. Otherwise, it is a legal claim. And like in some comments from other people, you try to suppress and remove comments. Not fair for freedom of speech. People should know all experience from all people who attended your courses. I completed program long time ago, asked Jenny for refund, and whoever I could, no reply or negative, arrogant reply. If so, like you stated in reply, please refund me then. If anyone who's watching this has proof that you can send me that they denied your refund request, then please send it to me, because I have a lot of litigation experience and I will do my best to ensure that action is taken against him. All right? Not worth it. Not like I was promised. You would have to spend a long time for learning. They are still catching around in the end. People must understand no magic pills to make money. Hope Felix did not promise that to people and did not take $8,000 for mentorship, and it would be a different story. Max value for options mentorship is 1.5 or 1,500 euros. I completely disagree. I think that he should actually pay you, because you're wasting all your time to learn a strategy that is only going to cost you money. And just to know, if you are complaining, you will be locked out from Patreon community and no money back as they promise. Felix is German and cannot go from his shoes. If you are not obeying, you will be thrown out from Swift system. Just not fair. And also they do all their best to remove reviews. Next one, I do not recommend if you do not have a ton of free time. I was promised that 90 days master option course is very easy and everyone can do it. I don't think so. Though I already had stocks experience and also crypto experience. It was very hard and full day job, 3 months, and I was studying all the time, got headache. Many times I was close to quitting. After first few days, I asked for a refund at $8,000 like they promised and stated I have proof, and they advised that I must stick to the end, which I did. And they stated also that they guaranteed that I will earn what I invested in 90 days options course. That didn't happen, and Felix refused to refund with excuse that they changed the refund policy. Even if I had proof, then the days of my application, they stated refund guaranteed, have all evidences. Arrogance like this is not fair to the dissatisfied people who have no rights, by the way, for their opinion to be expressed and no refund whatsoever. That is not fair to have so many unhappy and disappointed people in community just because someone doesn't want to return other people's money, which is promised, by the way. I feel very sad that people like this exists, who will do anything to get something from you, even to bring dogs and cats, just that you fail to trust them. Sad, Felix, very sad. Like they said, what comes around goes around. Yeah, just like I've said, Felix Prehn is a narcissistic, manipulative sociopath. He's going to use any means necessary to gain your trust, like bringing on dogs and cats. He's going to lie to you about investment banking and the refund policy. Your best bet and the best thing that you can possibly do is to contact your credit card company and tell them that you've been scammed. Disappointed on all levels, must share my experience. I am single mom that paid options master course 90 days for me and my son. 8,000 euros to learn options trading. After watching few of Felix videos and an online seminar, I decided to invest, even if I was a little bit skeptical because it's quite expensive, 3 months course, but Felix stated again and again that it is easy and the child can do it and that we will earn investment back in 90 days. So it looked attractive to try, especially when Felix said that if we don't like it or whatever, money back guaranteed. After 3 to 4 days, we saw that it is quite difficult and it is not right path for us, so we wrote for refund, but they denied, saying that we must complete the course first. We did this, and in the end, my son wrote to Felix personally, and Felix stated that they changed the refund policy. After that, we wrote that we have pictures from seminars where he stated that 100% return policy if we are not content. He denied saying that and locked our Patreon account. He locked us out because we complained and also locked our stocks course, which we paid also, and hasn't anything to do with our options 90-day complaint, and also texted on mail that if we write negative online, he will take legal actions. To be honest, I would love to sue this guy. If this guy was in the United States, I would completely annihilate him. There's no way that you should be able to scam people like this. If he was in the US, he would definitely get shut down. After that, we wrote him on his YouTube live, and he butt us back like a beggars to community, and we didn't get our money back. Never. So Felix, you are speaking with single mom that is fighting for her rights, and you make us begging to come back to community, just not to lose 8,000 euros. Refuse to return our money even when promised. So before we entered program, please, you have my PayPal account, and be so fair and human being and refund my hard-earned money. I don't think that your community or your courses are bad, but just for us, it was not what was promised. And because of that, we wanted to use our rights for refund and leave community so you can have happy and successful community. And we didn't feel we are for that path. I hope that this time you will make a difference and keep your promises and refund my money back, and that you can share what you are sharing without negative feelings from anyone and without negative thoughts towards you. All the best. Man, I feel really bad for this woman. She's a single mother, and she's still trying to maintain grace and a positive attitude, and she's been completely scammed. I feel bad for her. Look at her. She's actually like being really nice in this review after she's been scammed, and she's already saying that she doesn't want any negativity. All right, a few more. Review Goat Academy's unbeatable 90-day 100% money back guarantee. I will only review my experience with the advertised unbeatable 90-day 100% money guarantee. No marketing material that I was given before I made the decision to join the program limited the guarantee. I am not reviewing the program in general or the Goat Academy. I needed to leave the program, and I claimed the guarantee to the leader of the community, Felix, on October 11th, 2023. I started the program August 10th, etc. My request has not received a direct response. He offered to put a pause on the program and extend the 90 days. However, I am not interested in that proposal. I need the initial terms to be respected. I've sent 9 emails in the span of 1+ months and only received a couple of replies. No replies to my last emails, and I am blatantly being ignored. I started a dispute over the charge of my credit card. That's extremely smart. That's what everyone should do. They should dispute the charge with their credit card. Additionally, he can really get in trouble for this. I remember that I litigated with a company. I'm not going to mention their name because I really don't have any ill will towards them, and the FTC already went after them and sued them, and they lost millions of dollars. If a member was unhappy, then they would tell them, hey, no problem, we'll switch you to another program. And even though there was a refund policy, they kept switching people to new and new programs, but they never issued the refund. And then the US government stepped in and took action against them. In this situation, because I don't know which country you're from, it's very smart that you initiated a chargeback with your credit card company, because in my opinion, the Goat Academy is a complete fraud and scam. They're going to tell you whatever you want to hear. They're going to use animals to manipulate you. They're going to promise the world to you in order to get you to enroll. And once you enroll, they have you. And after the 90 days, you have no recourse, and they're not going to refund your money. If this is one of the main selling points, reassuring the customer that there is a guarantee in case that the student does not want to stay in the program during the guarantee period, and Codecademy ignores any customer who wishes to make the guarantee valid. Draw your own conclusions. You will not get your fee refunded. Subpar course for the money. Felix and the coaches are kind and mean well. No, they don't. Again, this is part of the scam. Felix, in my opinion, is a manipulative, sociopathic narcissist. He's not kind. He doesn't mean well. His goal is to get your money with any means possible by using animals, by promising you a full money-back guarantee, by showing you fake returns. And then once he has you, and then you request a refund, that refund is going to get denied. He is not a kind person who means well. Patrick is extremely skilled and professional. My issue is predominantly that the guarantee was not honored whatsoever. My pleas for help were ignored and no solution was made to find a winning strategy for me to employ. This is all that I wanted, a winning solution. I would never have signed up for this such high premium course without this guarantee, and it is not honored, so I cannot recommend this course. Go elsewhere. You will not get your money back, so you better consider it a sunk cost. And if that is the case, you are not trying it out. You are buying it sight unseen. So let me tell you what you are getting with the other issues other than the fraudulent offer on the refund. There's not really any group discussion sharing of trade ideas. The forum for ideas is dead. Only very junior people are asking what trades Felix is doing and would he please post them. There's often a day or two or more delay from when Felix does trades. You never know when and if they are a few days old before being posted. You are too late to enter those trades. I don't think that that's a bad thing because I think that the more you trade his system, the more you're going to lose. So this is actually a positive because if the community was active, the more you trade what he teaches you, the more money you're going to lose. This is one of the reasons I joined for a vibrant forum, and I was guaranteed by their salesperson, Aaron, that there would be a robust community. When I shared my disappointment of this with Aaron, he ceased communication with me. This is consistent with scam operations, and I have screen recordings of our communications. There is no onboarding process, setting goals, reviewing weekly plans. Scoured the site and finally had to ask Jenny, Felix just doesn't do this. I was disappointed as this is advertised in the videos that they will work with you and create a plan and weekly goals. I believed having an overarching plan for success was crucial, and this was advertised and is even part of the initial lessons. But no one will do this with you again. False advertising. You cannot book a call with Felix. He removed the ability from the website about a week after I joined. This would have been useful as I was desperate to find a strategy I could employ. This is a continuation on the last review. We had an additional agreement that Felix accepted that would make 5% per month on my portfolio as a measure of success. That's completely crazy. Maybe you'll lose 5% a month if you trade a lot of contracts. But the probability that you actually make 5% per month by trading his strategy is close to 0%. I don't even think you'd make 0.5%. Like I said, the more you trade his strategy, the more money you're going to lose. We could not achieve this, only losses. Even with this, they will still not refund my course. It has been a huge disaster for me as I had 6 months to sit down and make this work and nothing did. I just lost money plus the tuition. Plus, you lost 6 months of time that you're never going to get back. You incurred a lot of stress. You lost the money that you invested in the course, and you're going to incur trading losses by trading his losing strategy. 5, the course is not really a course, just a collection of videos that are loosely gathered into what might be a quasi-topic. It's very haphazard. Additionally, even if you finish the course, they will say the miscellaneous videos at the end of the course, hundreds, are part of the course. Therefore, you're never really done with the course, and they will use this as an excuse to never refund your tuition. Again, that's why you have to issue chargebacks. There is nothing new in the course. Anyone who is familiar with Tasty Trade already knows all of the course. The only exception is one of the coaches, Patrick, teaches a delta neutral strategy that is clever and worthy of respect. I completely disagree with that. Delta neutral strategies are an easy way to churn your account, because as the market moves higher or lower, you're going to have to make constant adjustments to your deltas by adding new positions and closing out others, and all you're going to be doing is churning your account and losing money. Let's see what else he says. However, I cannot get it to work for me as I could not keep up during trending markets and my losses were more than my wins. Yeah, of course, that's exactly what I said. I am absolutely devastated by the loss of my capital, my 6 months, the runaround, and the loss of my tuition. There is no way I would have taken this risk and paid for such an expensive course if there was no risk-free guarantee. Consider yourself warned that this is a subpar course. You will not get the attention you think you will, and you can kiss your tuition goodbye. Read the other 1-star reviews. They are accurate as far as I can tell and representative of my experience as well. Good luck. And then finally, I don't even think that Felix trades at all. Because look, it says right here, CFTC Rule 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations. Unlike an actual performance record, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact that they are designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. I don't even think that this guy trades at all. In my opinion, I think that his entire operation is a scam and a fraud.